How a Romance Novel Saved the Galaxy by Ariana Deralte. Chapter 12. Interludes. Takira was frustrated. She had spent over a month negotiating peace between warring factions on an outer rim planet that required her to follow Jedi decorum to the letter or else ruin the peace talks. Now that it was over and she was far away, all she really wanted was a spar and a fuck, not necessarily in that order. She was several days from the temple and her usual partners, though, and katas were not cutting it. "The Nerf burgers here are surprisingly tasty," offered a man as he sat down next to her at the bar. She looked at the speaker and almost did a double take at the orange and blue armor. "Are they?" she asked, then selected a burger from the electronic menu. "You know, I've never had a Mandalorian deliberately talk to me before." The perils of being a Jedi Knight. The Mandalorian had dark skin and a handsome smile. "Name's Jose. I don't think I've spoken to a Jedi before either, but I hear we have a lot in common." "Takira? Like what?" "Well, we like to fight." His eyes did a slow slide up and down her body, even though with the robes there was nothing to see. She fought back a blush. "And I hear we're both passionate about our beliefs." Takira used the Force to check that he was being sincere. It was. She grinned at him. "Sounds like we should explore these similarities further." His smile back was blinding. "I mean no offense," began Aldevol, "but would you please stop interfering? These Mandalorians were ruining his mission." The two Mandalorians flanking him tilted their helmets at each other, obviously discussing things over comms Aldevol wasn't privy to. "We're thinking no," said the one on the left in green. "You're in over your head, taking on the Klatos cartel on your own." "I'd have been in and out with the intel already if you weren't doing attention to me." "Jedi, that broadcasted your image and a bounty on your head within an hour of you landing," said the other one in full blue armor. "So you're protecting your bounty," said Aldevol, feeling nervous. He didn't want to fight two Mandalorians and the cartel at the same time. "No," denied Blue. "We're protecting you from other bounty hunters because for some reason you Jedi go into situations like this without backup." "Let us help, Vode," said Green and patted him on the shoulder. Aldevol could see no way to get rid of them. "I'd still have been fun on my own," he said. "But if you insist." "We do," said Blue. He was radiating feral glee from under his helmet. "We really do." Jedi Master Bala Rapal was returning from a search. The Force and the Kyber memory crystal had blessed him with ample new initiates, so much so that he was beginning to feel like a crush master on an outing. A very stressful outing. "Gavrapo, please get out of the luggage rack!" The Wookiee toddler grunted in surprise. His back was to her, but even if the Force hadn't told him where she was, his antenna would have told him via the vibrations. "Arrgh!" said a tiny voice at his feet. The orphaned Selonian Lee was gnawing on the glaive that had belonged to her mother. Mola double-checked that it was still in its sheath so the girl didn't cut herself. Mola would have to make sure the Kresh knew she'd have to return to the Corellian system when she was older to learn about her people. The Uman twins, Char and Chenin, were thankfully sleeping peacefully in their big bassinet on the passenger couch in their compartment, which left one child missing. Ta-da-da! Hadn't she gone in the fresher a while ago? He got up to check. The fresher was empty. Crap. He had way too many initiates to take care of for one person. He was just centering on the Force to find Tidala when there was a knock on the compartment door. The Force told him to open it. Standing on the other side was a tall Mandalorian without a helmet, possibly male, though Bola was bad at telling such things in humans. Next to them was a Mandalorian child, perhaps 10 or 11 in human years. The child had a few pieces of armor compared to the adult's full suit, and snuggled happily in the child's arms was Tidala, her bushy hair practically in the kid's mouth. "Tidala," Bola sighed. "She crawled out of the vents in our fresher," said the adult. "Once we realized she was a Jedi ad, we checked the manifest to find you. She made it quite a few compartments away from you." The Mandalorian sounded a bit admiring of the feat. "My apologies for the inconvenience," said Bola with a bow. "Thank you for bringing her back." He held out his hands, and Tidala reluctantly was transferred into his arms. He wasn't sure who looked more upset, Tidala or the Mandalorian child. "This isn't your home planet, Tidala. It can be dangerous to go off on your own." "Exploring," she said, gazing up at him with liquid brown eyes. "You must stay with me until we reach the temple, youngling, and then you can explore to your heart's content." And no doubt to her Crushmaster's despair. He held out a foot to prevent Lee from crawling out the door. "Looks like you have your hands full," said the adult Mandalorian. He glanced down at his child. "If you wouldn't mind, we've got a new child waiting for us at home that's about Tidala's age. God is nervous about being in Order Road. Big brother for the first time and would like more time with Tidala and your other ad to practice." The child was nodding his agreement, looking eagerly at the kids scattered around the compartment. Bulla appreciated a tactful offer of help. He checked with the Force, but sensed no ill intent. "I would be happy to aid your youngling's education." Hyam had a nice voice. He was softly singing what sounded like a lullaby in a language Nared didn't recognize. It kept Kiri calm, and she was nodding off where she was perched on Hyam's back. Nared himself was content to listen as they walked onwards. His armor's climate controls only just made the heat bearable. A moment later, however, the singing stopped and Hyam froze, head cocked. "What is it?" asked Nared. A high-pitched whine pierced the air far above their heads. "Behind me, Nared, and stay close," offered Hyam, then raised his hands toward the sky.